everybody. Welcome to Rounding the Bases podcast. I'm Coach Tom Coons, along with Coach Chad Porter and Zach Cart. I was just reading an article on a Zach Cronk, for God's sakes. Chad, why don't you get us started on what we're looking at tonight?
I'm sorry. I just, sometimes you get baseball guys together and they laugh, and it's a good Sunday night. So, welcome aboard.
Some night we need to put the bloopers on here that we.
Oh yeah, because there was one right there. And I have no idea. We were just looking at each other laughing. I have no idea why we were laughing. No clue. But anyway, hope everyone's had a great week, great weekend, great Sunday. Getting energized for the week. High school baseball obviously in full swing, and in most states. I think some of the northern states are still, getting going. But in Ohio and West Virginia, Kentucky, we're, 2 to 5 weeks in. And I just think it's important to make sure and kind of give yourself some reminders here as the season gets going. Right, number one, and Coach Coons a second ago called these incidentals. These are things I think from a recruiting standpoint and from a playing standpoint are kind of your vitamins, because they all kind of go in, and you got to keep going. This is no different than a hitting routine, a pitching daily routine, a daily defensive routine, whatever, a daily mental routine. There's a checklist that you need to be going over. Number one, make sure, I think this is really, really important. Number one, make sure you're monitoring your mental health. Baseball is a tough sport. It's, no disrespect to any other sports. I still believe, and I adamantly tell everyone that I can, that it's the hardest sport in the world. Not very many people that aren't baseball people care that it is, but it is. All right. Make sure your mental health is good, because the season's a grind. There's ups and downs. You play in bad weather, good weather. There's rainouts. There's family functions that you miss. There's different things. Just make sure, and there's, other things like, a parent having to work and not being at your game, not performing well in front of a college coach, that type of thing. Make sure you put these things, Coach Cart and I was talking about this last night, make sure you put these things in perspective and realize, while it's very, very important, it's a game. We do it for fun, and all that good stuff that goes with it. So make sure your mental health is good, because you can also get mental fatigue from this game. Sometimes people think they're physically fatigued, but it's really a mental fatigue. I once heard Pete Incaviglia say, fatigue in baseball is different than any other sport. It really is. It's because you do it every single day. Every day you have to do this game. There's a reason why big leaguers do it every single day. The motor skills involved, the strategy involved requires you to be at it every single day. So that's number one. Make sure you're paying attention to your mental health, whether it's on field performance, off the field, just feelings, whatever. People go through these stages in their career. Second thing, make sure you're staying in the weight room. I understand that some states are more weight room friendly than others. If you're playing in the South, you're playing in Florida, and you're playing on Monday, Thursday, Tuesday, Friday, whatever, believe it or not, a lot of the Southern states do that. They may play in tournaments at the beginning of the year, different things, but once they get in a regular season, unlike us up here in the Mid-Atlantic, Midwest, whatever you want to call it, when we're playing 4 to 6 games a week, they're probably playing 2 to 3. So keep that in mind. Even if you have to do it at home, stay in the weight room. 25 minutes. Make sure you're doing, appropriate lifts. We can help you with that stuff. That not only helps you with just feeling strong, maintenance, but feeling explosive. A lot of guys, the research shows, guys lose they don't lose their strength as fast as we think they lose it. They lose their ability to move, their explosiveness, and all that stuff. Remember, you need to train the things that you're not doing on the baseball field. You need to train the things you're not doing on the baseball field. If you play in a 7-inning game and you may run 3 full speed sprints in a 7-inning game. Really think about that. So you need to be training to be explosive. That's all important. Make sure you're keeping up with your recruiting contacts. Make sure you're keeping up, and this is where we can help you throughout the season. Make sure you're keeping up with people that you have talked to, text message, email, phone, whatever. Make sure you're keeping up to date with them. Um, right at the top of the list is your academics. It's real easy when you're playing 5 days a week and you're getting home at 9 o'clock at night and games are changing from home to away because the weather's so unpredictable. It's really easy to get behind academically. Then the next thing you know, you bomb the ACT or the SAT because you haven't been studying for it. You bomb your Algebra 2 class, and now we've got an eligibility problem. Okay. Um, and the other thing is this: make sure you're staying with training. Too many times, especially up here, I think that teams, unfortunately, are required to play a lot of games in a short window, and you lose the aspect of practice. And things in your game start falling apart a little bit because you're not practicing it. Make sure you're doing the little things. Make sure you're going to a coach and asking them to create a small routine. Hey, taking 50 dry swings before you.
Yep, I think we lost him there for a minute. Well, I'm going to build off Zach that you're here.
I'm here.
Oh, there you
I'm
are.
back. That was
He's
weird. I
back.
got kicked off. Sorry.
I'm going the mental health thing. I was going to say one thing on that. I remember when I was coaching college, 4 freshmen, great players, came in, and when you get to a college and you make that team, you are going to be successful probably right from the start. But all freshmen hit the wall sometime. And what I mean by that is when it's going good, your mental health, you're pumped up, then all of a sudden you strike out once. You have a couple errors the next game. You do this, and it starts to steamroll. And I can remember getting together with them and saying, look, you're all going to hit the wall sometime here. It's my job as a coach to make it so it doesn't all happen at the same time. Because they don't want 4 people all hitting the wall at the same time when you have 9 people in the lineup. So it's very important to understand you may be successful early, but take that and work just as hard as if you were not successful that first time, so you can be steady all the way through. The other thing you were talking about, academics, talk to a Division I coach, and academics are probably, well, you have in the top 2 or 3 things. They're definitely there. He went on Twitter one time, saw a highlight tape on his feed. Coach loved what he saw. Saw the tape, thinking of offering the kid. DM and asked for transcripts. Official transcript from the school came. It was C's and D's. Coach couldn't get him into that school. Unfollowed, found another recruit to offer them who had A's and B's on their transcript. So you want to make sure you are not taking yourself out of the game, the recruiting game, by not following through on all your ends, and that includes the academics as well.
And I mean, piggyback, Coach. You know what? I always felt with like talking to recruits, a red flag. Here's a red flag. And even our high school guys, I would ask a kid, "What's your GPA?" I don't. Or hey, what'd you get in Algebra 2? How do you not know your grades? What'd you get on the ACT? 20. I'm gonna go say it was. And almost every time kids would do that, when we get their grade report, red flag, bad grades. How do you not know? You did the work. Like, how do you not know what your grade was? You did the work. I mean, that's kind of, for me, it's inexcusable.
If you did good on those tests, believe me, you would know your score.
But you should know your score, good or bad, though, right?
Correct.
I mean,
But you would definitely, I think SATs are what 1,600 when was a perfect score. If I scored 1,600, I'll tell you, there'd be flags going up around and fireworks shooting in the air. I would know what I got.
Yeah.
So when you say, I could have done better. Well, what did you get? And that adds to the whole trust mistrust thing in the recruiting process. Be honest. I'm retaking them. I'll send you my new scores or
Or hey,
whatever.
my GPA is a 2.5. I struggled my freshman year. I was lazy. I picked it up. My grades right now are I've got a B in bio, I've got a B in geometry,
Right.
I've got an A in government, whatever. Whatever, it is. But like we would ask, hey, what are your grades? Or after you're just like, that's a big time red flag.
And you guys are going through that now with your players too. Trying to make them understand. I mean, Zach, like you've got a recruitable kid in your household for God's sake. So, and then they think you're probably picking on them. You got to be on them all the time. Hey, how you doing in this? How you doing? And I think a company like ours, that's where we come in and help. I mean, we really do. I've talked to more coaches in the last 4 days looking for players because they're all getting ready for fall already. Because let's face it, you get to end of April here, it's playoff time. Season's over halfway in college right now.
Right. Well, and I mean, and of course, it all right. Transfer portal, everything changes.
Right.
I think the new executive order should hopefully add a different wrinkle, maybe stabilize that a little bit. But at the same time, you have to be prepared for that situation. I mean, Coach and I observed a player yesterday that I don't know that he is committed anywhere. Fantastic player behind the dish, and I mean, plus player. Didn't get to play a lot the past few years because he had a guy in front of him that was a senior last year. So I mean, those are the type of things you just have to make sure. We're calling the incidentals, but if you have all your ducks in a row, put you in a better position.
Yeah. And you make a good point with that too. You always got to be ready. You've always got. You don't know when your chance is going to come.
You have no clue who's watching. I mean, Coach Porter can show up at a high school game. No one remotely understands the amount of connections he has. I mean, how many times do you get asked about a player, Coach? Like, I mean, hey, I played against this guy, right? Well,
Right.
he had this bad body language and this and I mean, it's just like, look, you have to be on all the time now. You have to be on all the time.
Yeah, guys will text me and just say, "Tell me about this kid."
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think the kid's a really good kid. They play hard. Bat speed's okay. Have some arm strength. They can run, whatever. And I'll tell you this one time, and this was back to the college days. I'm out recruiting. Person didn't know who I was, and and I'm watching the game, and the team's a really, really well coached team, and they're playing well. And the parent, looks over thinking that I'm just another parent and goes on and on and on about this coach who's has this team that's 17-3 and there's discipline and it's working and I just kind of walked away and said, well, your kid's not going to be playing baseball in our program. In my mind, I walked away. And you're like, and those are red flags too. Anytime you're in a situation on a visit, and we really should put together maybe a podcast about what the visit looks like, okay, right, and walk you through it. And it was always here's another red flag: the parent or the kid talking about the coach, the parent or the kid talking bad about other players or parents on the team. You're allowed to have opinions. We have free will. We're humans. You don't have to say your thoughts. You don't have to say your thoughts, because guess what? Here's how I look at that type of stuff. If someone freely, openly talks to you about another person, they're probably going to be talking about you to somebody else. That's real talk right there. And we just lost
And we
Coach
lost
Coons.
Tom.
So
Oh,
now
he's
he's
back.
back on the other side of the screen. But that's real. That's real.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
if you openly talk about people who openly talk about other people in front of them will typically will have no issue talking about you. It's a habitual thing. And as a coach, it's not good mojo, and that's a red flag. Now, there's a big difference between talking to a trusted person about something, blah blah blah. But when we're developing a relationship, and you're like, well, that person, this and this and this, or you know, the coaching wasn't very good here. You're thinking, geez, Louise, when I bench your kid, what's going to happen?
Yep.
So anyway, that's some food for thought
right.
as everybody's navigating their seasons.
Yeah, I just think the thing is you have to be ready every single day because you don't know when your number's going to call. And I'll end this with one story that I know have direct knowledge of. College team is Northern College. Spring training in Florida. Kid is sitting on the bench. First game down there, or second game down there. Pitcher on the other team throws and hits one of the players on the team in the cheek. Pitch got away from him. Down he goes. They put this kid in the game to play. At the end of the college trip, they come home. He was 17 for 20. Had a phenomenal spring training. Comes home, player of the year for the league. That's his sophomore year. Player of the year. All the honors, All-American, the whole thing. Goes on to have a great career, plays professional. Now he's coaching college. And I know that story because that was my son. And he could have been one of those people that just complained. Nope. Went to work every day, did his job. He may have known he was better than somebody else, but he didn't say a word. He just did it and got his chance. And then they couldn't take him off the field for the next 3 years. And I think that's what this message that you're trying to say is, hey, don't give yourself opportunities to ruin your chance. Because there's more ways to ruin your chance than there are to help your chance. Because remember, 2% of you are going to make a Division I roster. So,
Yeah.
There's a lot more things that can go bad than that are going to go good. Just like batting average, there's a lot more things you're going to be out seven or 8 out of 10 times.
Yep.
So that's the message here, and you're looking at 3 people right here that can help you navigate those waters. Especially, I mean, I've been asked more questions about transfer portal and how do we get around that. So we have the tips to get you through. To get your name toward the top of that list, so they at least got to look. And it is hard. I've also talked to some parents who said, "No, we can do it," and in 3 weeks' time they call back. Hey, is it too late? No, we're behind a little bit, but it's not too late. And they jump in. But that's what you got to understand. This isn't just something we do as a hobby. This was our careers. And you got 3 people right here. You got, I'll tell you, Zach with the analytics, he can tell you exactly where you are and where you should be. Coach Porter, coached college over 20 years. Same thing. Knows the recruiting process. Knows this. Knows the ins and outs. I coached college for 31 years. I know the recruiting process. I know what the letters say that go out. I know how to get around the system. And I think that's what you really, for the inexpensive dollar amount that we charge, because we don't want to just take your money to make money. We want to help you get a school. whether you're softball or baseball, doesn't matter. But we have the contacts that we can pick up the phone tonight, and I can call a coach. Chad can call a coach. Zach can call a coach, and we can get your name in the door. So I think that's what you got to keep in mind. But anything else, guys, in closing?
No, that was good.
Yeah, coconut sunflower seeds are the best.
Yes.
Yep. All right. Until next Sunday, you guys have a great week. I hope you had a great Easter, by the way, on a week we had off.
Yep.
And Zach is smiling again, I'll tell you. But we will see you next Sunday, the 18th. When we'll be on for our Rounding Bases podcast.